Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2026 Teaching Awards ceremony. I'm Nick Monk, the Executive Director of the Sheridan Centre for Teaching and Learning, and I'd like to thank you for being here this evening and greetings to those joining online. Greetings to those joining online. I'd like to begin by thanking Media Services, Dining Services and my Sheridan Centre colleagues, Vanya Figueiredo and Matthew Good, for all of their work in organising this event. Thank you very much. Thank you for that, and thank you both. The invitations, the logistical arrangements and the programme involve many, many hours of coordination led by Vanya. So again, our gratitude for that. Thanks so much. I'd also like to thank the Office of the Dean of the Faculty at the College, the Swearer Centre for Public Service, the Graduate School, the Warren Alpert Medical School, the School of Public Health, the School of Engineering and pre-college and undergraduate programmes for selecting the recipients of their respective awards. I'm now going to move right on to introduce our next speaker in today's programme, Provost Frank Doyle. Thank you, Frank. He's just getting his water. Can't speak without refreshment. You know me, Frank, I like to be succinct.
Sorry, late in the day, I'm losing my voice, so I need some water. Great to be here with all of you. Nick, thank you for the introduction. Thank you for you and your team for all the magnificent arrangements and organization. So great to be with you all for this annual celebration of teaching and advising. I was telling Nick before the program, this is one of those sacrosanct dates on my calendar. I tell my assistant, no travel, no other meetings, we got to protect this. This is the kind of celebration I want to be a part of. So wonderful to be here with you all. We're celebrating 60 individuals for your crucial role in the teaching, the advising, the mentoring across the campus. So really just a wonderful, magnificent event. So I want to share with you some of the key themes that emerged from all the nominations, the accolades that we're going to celebrate today. Excuse me. And there were two or three that I want to call out in particular that were recurring and showed up in multiple nominations. The first was the generosity with which our awardees provided feedback and support to their students and their colleagues. That was noteworthy. Second, the transformative impact, not just directly for the individuals, but the cumulative impact that affects the whole community. And third, the integration of learning, both inside the classroom, the laboratory, and outside as well. That was really compelling. So these are just a few of the really resonant themes that occurred to me here. So we're here to celebrate these individuals for their work, their commitment, and the influence that they have on our campus and beyond. So congratulations to all of our honorees this evening. You can't applaud people often enough in these things. So here's to all of you. It's also a very special opportunity for me today to be able to make some time during my remarks to celebrate and honor Dr. James Rudolph, professor of medicine, a professor of health services policy and practice. Jim also served as the director of the Center of Innovation in Transformative Health Systems Research to improve veteran equity and independence. If you pull all those letters together, it's the brilliant acronym THRIVE, which is so apt. This is based at the Providence VA Medical Center. Much to the great sadness of the colleagues, students, entire Brown community, and his family, Jim passed away on March 26th after a long illness. Tremendously privileged and honored to be joined here today by members of Jim's family, Maura, his wife, Allie and Aaron, his daughters, and Jack Shine, his father-in-law. As a token of Brown's appreciation for the amazing contributions Jim has provided to our community, and on behalf of both the Division of Biology and Medicine and the School of Public Health, it's my honor to announce that a brick will be installed in the alumni brick wall in Jim's memory. The brick will read, "In recognition of Jim's enduring contributions as a mentor, colleague, and leader, and of the profound impact he has had on shaping generations of faculty while advancing research and scholarship at Brown University. His legacy will remain a lasting part of Brown. Maura, I'd like to invite you to come up and receive a certificate as we join with you and your family in loving memory of Jim. And can I invite the deans from the respective schools as well, Francesca Mukesh. Where's our photographer? I think she wants us over here. So maybe you and I in the middle. Francesca. Oh, Jen. Oops. Jim embraced an approach that pushed his colleagues to excel, while acknowledging and supporting the principle in life that we must manage more than just research. Said one of his colleagues, quote, "Beyond research, he paid attention to what was happening in my life outside of work and quietly protected me during difficult times," end quote. Before Jim passed, he received multiple awards here at Brown, notably one from the Division of Biology and Medicine and another from the School of Public Health. And it's really my privilege to just read a couple of excerpts from the nominations and the citations for those awards. So in the Division of Biology and Medicine, he received the Dean's Award for Faculty Research Mentoring, recognizing a faculty member in the division for outstanding research mentoring of junior faculty. Wrote Stefan Gravenstein, the division chief for geriatrics and palliative medicine, quote, "His mentorship extends beyond formal advising and occurs throughout sustained engagement in clinical teaching, research collaboration, and career developments." He also received the Dean's Award for Excellence in Mentoring from the Dean of the School of Public Health. Wrote Rosa Beyer, professor of the practice of health services policy and practice, quote, "In his continued mentorship throughout his illness, he has modeled what it means to practice medicine, scholarship, and mentorship as forms of service, demonstrating through lived experience how to remain present for others and grounded in purpose amid profound personal challenge." So in closing, it's abundantly clear just how much Jim will be missed by the Brown community and that his impact will undoubtedly continue to be felt here for generations. So I thought it only fitting that I open our program of recognition today with this celebration of Jim's myriad contributions to Brown. I'd like to now turn things back over to Nick for the remainder of the formal program. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. We appreciate that very much, and thank you again to the family for being here with us today. I would now like to proceed to recognise the 25 to 26 Equitable Learning Inquiry, or ELI, Faculty Fellows. In the ELI programme, faculty investigate the extent to which student experiences and outcomes in foundational courses are equitable for students from backgrounds and identity groups that have been historically underrepresented. Would the ELI Fellows who are present this evening please stand or wave your hand to be recognised? Thank you so much, and thank you to all of you. Next, I'd like to invite Dr. Sarah Miskin to come forward to recognise the 25 to 26 Junior Faculty Teaching Fellows. Sarah.
It is my privilege to recognize this year's Junior Faculty Teaching Fellows this afternoon. Through a year of pedagogy seminars, collaborative problem solving, and peer observation and structured reflection, these individuals have demonstrated a strong commitment to improving their teaching and their students' learning. I've been delighted to see them grow as educators and to enrich Brown's culture of pedagogical excellence as early career faculty, and I know they will continue to do those things in their time at Brown. So as I call their names, please join me in recognizing James W. Doughton. Ivan Kwok. Yana Makrishova. Nicole Pangborn. Han Zhang. And I'll finish with a shout out to the 3 fellows who couldn't make it today: Serena Booth, Maria Gonzalez Ferrar, and Peter Lippman. Thank you all.
I would now like to move on to the next portion of our programme, and thank you, Sarah, to recognise this year's awardees for teaching and mentorship. As each recipient is called up, we will take a photo of you with your dean, so please take a moment to look into the camera once you get there. First, we're delighted to welcome the Dean of the Graduate School. First, we have the Dean of the Graduate School Awards, and I'd like to invite Dean David Lindstrom to step forward. For each awardee this evening, please step forward when I call your name. I will then read an excerpt from the nomination for each awardee. There are 4 recipients of the Graduate School Faculty Award for Advising and Mentoring. The first is Stephen Bush in Religious Studies. Quoting a group of his students, Steve takes our work seriously. It is clear that Steve has an intentional philosophy of graduate training, from the generous written feedback he never fails to return, whether on course papers or dissertation chapters. He is a careful reader of graduate student writing, offering exceptionally thorough feedback and posing questions that serve to make our writing and our ideas stronger. Every piece of work by every student receives the same rigorous comments, including both track edits on matters of punctuation and paragraphs of thoughts engaging the substance of the students' arguments. Congratulations, Steve. Don't forget your photograph. The second awardee is Holly Case in History. Quoting one of her doctoral students, her openness to her students and colleagues' perspectives and experiences creates what are, in my academic experience, uniquely generative spaces that build community and collaboration. To me, as an educator in training, they are examples of what pedagogy can be at its best. As a mentor, Professor Case has not just encouraged my curiosities, but has also been willing to explore and read along, even when they take us into uncharted methodological and disciplinary territory. For that and much else, I am deeply grateful. Congratulations, Holly. And Daniel Harris in Engineering is the third awardee. Quoting one of his doctoral students, what remained constant throughout was Dan's unwavering support. He was always willing to think creatively, offering practical solutions to difficult problems, providing time to work through complex equations and experimental challenges, and helping me brainstorm new approaches when I was stuck. While I came to Brown as a mathematician, I will be leaving Brown as a confident problem solver that has honed a strong set of skills and experiments and careful measurements as well, with a human-centred approach to science and engineering, thanks to Dan's influence and mentorship. Congratulations, Dan. And the final awardee in this category is Erica Larshawn in Molecular Biology, Cell Biology and Biochemistry. Quoting a former doctoral student, As a woman in quantitative science, her belief in my capabilities was essential. Under her mentorship, I did far more than recover, I thrived. Now in my current role, I support other women navigating comparable challenges, so they too may rise to their potential for themselves and for the world. In that way, Erica's mentorship style and tooling are amplified through me. What an extraordinary legacy she leads. Congratulations, Erica. Many thanks, David. Oh, sorry, David. He's supposed to, I'm sorry, David, you're supposed to stay. My mistake. I sent you off too early. Forgive me. There were more. I apologise. That's the one mistake I'm allowed this evening. Next, to recognise outstanding teaching by Brown's graduate students is the Presidential Award for Excellence in Teaching. The first recipient is Alexander F. Hardin in Musicology and Ethnomusicology. Quoting one of his former students, I experienced the full extent of Alex's pedagogical capabilities in my senior capstone course during my final semester at Brown. His lessons were ambitious and engaging. Each class introduced a new theoretical concept, which Alex then challenged us to apply to a seemingly mundane case study. Alex intentionally designs his lessons to be memorable with his students' interests in mind. Since graduation, there has been no other course which I reference or draw from in daily life than the one of Alex's design. Congratulations, Alex. Kimberly Stephanie Mazer in Pathobiology is the second recipient of this award. Quoting a former student, Kimberly took a special interest in each student in the lab and made an effort to get to know all of us, not only as students, but also as individuals. I remember how she wrote each of us a personalised thank you card at the end of the semester to thank us for being students in her section. This act of gratitude demonstrates the kind of teacher that Kimberly is. During a semester where she invested so much effort into our growth and learning, whilst also balancing her own demanding schedule as a PhD student, she still went the extra mile to thank her students for being there. Congratulations, Kimberly. The third recipient of this award is Katyayani Seth in Anthropology. Quoting some of her students, one of Professor Seth's greatest strengths in teaching is the care she takes in helping her students consider broad perspectives and critical thinking while prioritising ethics in anthropology. Her passion to see us grow was also reflected in the personalised feedback she gave each and every student on each and every assignment. She consistently encouraged us to engage with global health beyond the surface level and pushed us to think critically about the content, not just within the classroom, but in our personal lives and future careers. Congratulations, Katyayani. And the final awardee in this category is Hannah Shorbetian in Earth, Environmental and Planetary Sciences. This is from Harriet Lau Manning, Assistant Professor in Deeps. Throughout the course, Hannah engaged with students in small ways every lecture, learning the names of 46 students the moment that shopping period ended. These interactions built an environment of openness and ease which helped students ask questions without anxiety. It is clear that Hannah has a talent for teaching. Her long-term aspirations include teaching at its core, and she has invested much time in teaching beyond the requirements of her doctoral programme. Congratulations, Hannah. Thank you, David. That really does conclude things this time. Next, we have the Pre-College and Undergraduate Programmes Awards. I'd like to invite Adrienne Marcus, Dean of the Division of Pre-College and Undergraduate Programmes, to join me for the presentation of this award. Thank you. This year's Reginald D. Archambault Award for Teaching Excellence in Pre-College Education recipient is Melanie Ortiz Alvarez de la Campa in Pathobiology. Students felt comfortable and seen within the classroom, and Melanie created a supportive atmosphere even though the course had a short duration. Learning that there is no one-size-fits-all model to communicate important scientific information to specific populations is a powerful and impactful lesson, especially for students who are looking ahead to future higher education and careers in the sciences. Melanie's creative and thoughtful approach to learning design engaged students in productive, successful conversations with the course content and with each other. Congratulations. Thank you, Adrienne. That concludes the pre-college and undergraduate programme awards. I now invite Dean Leah Van Wey to join me for the awards from the Dean of the Faculty. Hello, Leah. The winner of the John Rowe Workman Award for Excellence in Teaching in the Humanities goes to Lindsay Kaplan in History of Art and Architecture. Professor Kaplan's remarkable ability to motivate students by way of her commitment to complexity comes up time and time again. Said one student, "Professor Kaplan creates a level of discourse that I had not yet experienced at Brown. She demands that each student create their own perspective, and because the discussion in class is so advanced, students are highly motivated to prepare for class adequately." And another of her students, Lindsay's sheer knowledge and outside-of-the-box thinking, as well as her ability to really push the class to think both broadly and critically, fostered an incredibly engaged and thoughtful environment. The innovative nature of her courses is also a talking point in her evaluations, with students regularly praising the way she brings together the artistic, political and social dimensions of material that is often entirely new to them. Congratulations, Lindsay. Next is the Elizabeth LeDuc Award for Excellence in Teaching in the Life Sciences, and this is awarded to Bertram Mallet in Cognitive and Physical Sciences. Professor Mallet is an internationally recognised authority on the psychology of morality and human-machine interaction. Equally important, he is a gifted and inspiring teacher. He is known for delivering eloquent and mesmerising lectures to large numbers of students in his social psychology course, and for his ability to facilitate intellectually playful and provocative discussions in his upper-level seminars on moral psychology and blame and punishment. Said one of his students, "His depth of knowledge, his ability to inspire, and his genuine engagement with each student made an introductory course feel both intellectually rigorous and deeply personal." Congratulations, Bertram. The winner of the Philip J. Bray Award for Excellence in Teaching in the Physical Sciences is Payam Tabrizian in Applied Mathematics. Dr. Tabrizian teaches some of his division's most demanding large courses with students from diverse backgrounds. To quote one of his students, "Payam Tabrizian is a fantastic instructor who is passionate about the subject. He presents the material clearly in lecture and makes it digestible for people with different backgrounds and familiarities with mathematics." Another student said, "He really tried to simplify topics and frame subjects in a way that students could understand. He was also always very kind and approachable during office hours and was always open to questions from students, be it in office hours or during lecture." Congratulations, Payam. Miles Lennon in Environment and Society and Anthropology is the recipient of the William G. McLaughlin Award for Excellence in Teaching in the Social Sciences. Professor Lennon's performance as a teacher is as outstanding as his scholarship. He receives such exceptional student appraisals, not only because he is dynamic and engaged in his instruction, but also because he creates a classroom climate conducive to addressing complex and difficult topics in a rigorous yet supportive manner. Wrote one of his students, I would highly, highly, highly recommend this course to any student looking to expand their understanding of what environmentalism looks like to students frustrated with market-based and techno-scientific solutions, posited as magical fixes to climate change, and students feeling hopeless about looking for employment and action in the face of such brutal problems. This class gave me passion and hope. Thank you, Professor Lennon. Congratulations, Marcus. There are 2 winners of the Dean's Award for Excellence in Teaching. The first winner is Indira Gill in Education. Since her arrival at Brown in 2020, Professor Gill has been an excellent and impactful teacher for graduate and undergraduate students and modelled effective pedagogy for colleagues and pre-service teachers in ways that merit recognition. Professor Gill utilises pedagogies across her course that elevate all voices in the classroom and demonstrates a commitment to ensuring that diverse voices are meaningfully represented in her teaching. This is in line with her values of humane, equitable and just research and teaching. In coaching and mentoring students, a critical part of their education as teachers, she provides clear evidence of what they are doing well and where they can improve, making her feedback rigorous, practical and clear. Congratulations, Indira. And the second winner is Jamie Trost in Cognitive and Psychological Sciences. Dr. Trost invests in the learning potential of every single student, individualising her approach to meet each student where they are and providing the necessary scaffolding and often emotional support to advance their understanding and ability to meet rigorous standards. Said one of her students, "Professor Trost is an exceptional teacher who has tremendously shaped my academic experience at Brown. She goes above and beyond to ensure her students truly understand the course content, always making herself available and taking time to explain concepts with clarity. She also often re-explains ideas in multiple different ways until they fully resonate. I have never had a professor as dedicated and genuinely committed to her students as she is. Beyond this, she is the reason I discovered my profound interest in statistics." Congratulations, Jamie. Thank you, Leah. That concludes the Dean of the Faculty Awards. Dean Tejal Desai will now join me in presenting the awards for the School of Engineering. Thank you, Tejal. The Dean's Award for Excellence in Teaching is given to Isabella Stuopis. Professor Stuopis is an exceptionally engaged and committed instructor in the formative engineering classes, Engineering 30 and 40. She is deeply invested in students' learning, evident by her consistent pursuit of feedback from fellow faculty, teaching assistants and students. Professor Stuopis has been known to weigh multiple perspectives, thoughtfully implementing changes when appropriate and choosing approaches that best support student understanding, even if it requires great additional effort on her part. Congratulations, Isabella. The Dean's Award for Excellence in Mentoring is awarded to Jason Harry. Several students cited Professor Harry as an effective and supportive instructor, noted how responsive he is in class, adapting his teaching based on how students are following the material. One nomination said simply, "He explains difficult concepts clearly, invites questions and creates a classroom atmosphere where people feel comfortable speaking up." Another said, "He sets high expectations while giving students the tools to meet them." All of the nominations noted the patience, thoughtfulness and insight he offers students about both their academic and future plans. Congratulations, Jason. Lastly, Janae Duane is awarded the Dean's Award for Impact in Diversity, Equity and Inclusion in Teaching and Advising. Praise for Professor Duane centred on the theme of her willingness to empower, motivate and drive impact from the people around her. Several commented on her respectful, welcoming classroom environment, where she invited participation from many different students and responded to questions with patience and openness. Her innate understanding that people come from different backgrounds and experiences was reflected in the way she framed examples and encouraged the class to listen to one another. Congratulations, Jeanette. Thank you, Teja. That concludes the School of Engineering Awards. Next, we will have the awards for the college, and Dean Ethan Pollock will join me to present those. Hi, Ethan. Excuse me. Drink some water at this point. 40 years ago, Dean Harriet Sheridan wrote that good teachers must always be scholars. And the next group of faculty do just that, as recipients of the Henry Merritt Riston Fellowship, awarded for a record of excellence in teaching and scholarship. We have 4 faculty members receiving this award. The first winner is Tarana Baines in history. Tarana couldn't be here today, but we still wanted to honour her achievement, so I'll read out this testimonial. Tarana Baines' teaching centres on a commitment to explaining the making and unmaking of global empires, an approach that empowers undergraduates to perform the original work of historians by synthesising diverse primary sources. She asks students to piece together what was happening in any given moment and grapple with the contradictions, ambiguities and surprising connections that emerge when juxtaposing a handful of sources from seemingly faraway places. She has been a Sheridan Junior Faculty Teaching Fellow and has supervised honours theses across three distinct concentrations. Her teaching directly informs her proposed book proposal, Divisions of Empire, The Politics of Imperial Difference Across the Indo-Pacific, 1756 to 1858, which investigates how the British Empire's various governance models across the Indian and Pacific Oceans created lasting legal and racialised structures. Congratulations in her absence to Tarana. Next is Banafsha Bayzai in philosophy. Banafsha's teaching excellence is rooted in the belief that philosophy is a shared craft that thrives on active engagement and collective problem solving. By being transparent about her own puzzlements when navigating complex historical texts, she cultivates a supportive environment that transforms intimidating archives into a living discipline, empowering students to produce high-level work, including undergraduate publications and national conference presentations. She utilises evidence-based tools such as low-stakes discussion threads and context-sensitive active learning to ensure that a diverse range of voices directly shape the classroom discourse. She plans to continue work on ongoing projects focused on Kant's theoretical philosophy, as well as begin research on Kant's practical philosophy, which is an extension of her theoretical research. Congratulations, Banafsha. Next, Mara Freilich in Earth, Environmental and Planetary Sciences and Applied Mathematics. Mara Freilich is committed to helping students navigate the natural and socio-environmental world through rigorous scientific reasoning and interdisciplinary inquiry. By developing innovative courses like mathematics and climate, she has pioneered a liberal arts approach to the physical sciences that bridges the gap between technical mastery and socio-political awareness. Her unique dual-track course design ensures accessibility for students across all concentrations. This dedication to education extends far beyond the classroom, encompassing mentorship that spans from local community-engaged science at the Salton Sea to international collaborations at the University of Ghana. Her research plan aims to improve the accuracy of global climate projections by developing new theoretical and dynamical systems frameworks that capture the impact of fine-scale ocean currents on marine ecosystems. Congratulations, Mara. And our last award winner in this category is Madison Moore in Modern Culture and Media. Madison Moore's teaching philosophy is defined by a radical commitment to making as a kind of thinking, an approach that bridges high-level theory with hands-on creative practice. Excuse me. From producing 16-bar beat loops to conducting field research on Providence street art. This improvisational pedagogical ethos not only demystifies the creative process for students of all backgrounds, but also fosters a deep tactile connection to the life worlds of marginalised communities. As a Sheridan Centre Junior Faculty Teaching Fellow and a dedicated mentor for honours theses and independent studies, he has successfully cultivated a classroom environment where curiosity and discovery are paramount. He will use the fellowship to work on a companion essay film to his book Night Fever. The essay film will blend original music, performance poetry, archival research, vignettes, photography, and queer nightlife oral histories. Congratulations, Madison. Next, the first winner of the Karen T. Roma Award for Excellence in Advising is Corinne Coulombe in engineering. Corinne. Students praised Corinne for her prioritising of advising both inside and outside the classroom, from training students to lead lab sections and facilitate productive educational discussions to encouraging timid students to attend conferences. She always makes time to mentor students with care and compassion. Many students also noticed her sincere interest in their potential career paths. As one student noted, her thoughtfulness and understanding allow me to be honest about my academic and personal struggles, and I am able to leave our conversations feeling more prepared for my future goals. Congratulations, Corinne. The next Roma Award goes to Françoise Hamlin in Africana Studies and History. Professor Hamlin demonstrates excellence in both research and life mentorship. One nominator stated that she does not simply teach, she models a form of mentorship that is an intergenerational world-building practice and that reshapes the very culture of the Academy. As a primary faculty mentor to over 10 Mellon Mays Fellows and numerous other undergraduates, Professor Hamlin invests her labour and time in their research careers with an exhaustive, deeply intentional approach. Her mentorship is a masterclass in scholarly socialisation. She guides exhaustive bibliographic searches, helps narrow down complex research questions, and supervises independent research projects that culminate in departmental honours theses. Congratulations, Françoise. And the final Roma Award goes to Jessie Morin in chemistry. Students applaud Professor Morin for centering compassion and kindness in her advising. One student noted, she is deeply attuned to the diverse backgrounds and aspirations of her students and adapts her guidance accordingly. Another said that Professor Morin consistently welcomes students at varying levels of preparation, investing time to strengthen not only their technical competence, but their conceptual foundations so they can contribute meaningfully. She goes out of her way to nurture students struggling with organic chemistry concepts, with a student noting that after her mentorship, they genuinely understood the material rather than treading water for survival. Congratulations, Jessie. Professor Meenakshi Narain spent 15 years on the physics faculty at Brown, last serving as chair before she passed away on January the 1st, 2023. The Meenakshi Narain Excellence in Research Mentoring Award is named in her honour. The first awardee is Meredith Hastings in Environment and Society and Earth, Environmental and Planetary Sciences. Over her tenure at Brown, Professor Hastings has fostered a rigorous yet inclusive lab environment. She has successfully guided dozens of undergraduates from diverse academic backgrounds, including those in the Leadership Alliance, REU, Research Experience for Undergraduates programme, toward high-impact projects such as first authoring peer-reviewed publications and winning Best Theses prizes. Her innovative approach is best exemplified by the Breathe Providence project, where she empowers students to bridge the gap between atmospheric science and community health, helping them develop quantitative skills while pursuing personalised career paths in the scientific workforce. A nominator explained, she meets the students where they are, from first years to seniors, and in the most supportive way possible, pushes them to expand their knowledge and their horizons and helps them follow a path that truly interests them. Congratulations, Meredith. And Jerome Robinson in chemistry is our second awardee. Jerome couldn't be here today, but we still wanted to honour his achievement. Professor Jerome Robinson has sponsored 25 UTRAs over the past 5 years and nearly 50 undergraduate researchers during his tenure. Nominators also emphasise the quality of the one-on-one advising Professor Robinson gives each student. Student nominators attested to his willingness to work with them individually and encouraged them to pursue their passions in chemistry, even when students question their own abilities. One advisee stated, "When I first worked as an undergraduate researcher in his lab, I was going into an unknown field to me. Professor Robinson made sure I had all the materials that prepared me for both advanced knowledge and research when I came on board. He also patiently answered all questions I encountered in research, as well as any questions I had for future career plans." One of his former undergraduate advisees wrote, "He believed in me when I did not even believe in myself. Even after graduation, he remains one of my biggest supporters and mentors." So congratulations to Jerome. Thank you, Ethan. That concludes the college's awards. We now turn to the awards from the School of Public Health, and Dean Francesca Beaudoin will help me present these awards. Thank you, Francesca. The winner of the Dean's Award for Excellence in Community Engagement is Alexandra McMudu in Epidemiology. From Katie Biello, Chair of the Department of Epidemiology. I've had the privilege of observing Dr. McMudu's scholarship, teaching and service for several years. She is an exceptional faculty member whose work embodies the core values of this award through rigorous scholarship, sustained partnership and deep reciprocal engagement with community leaders and organisations in Rhode Island. Dr. McMudu has established herself as a leader in community-engaged public health research focused on harm reduction, overdose prevention and the health impacts of incarceration. Congratulations. The next award is the Dean's Award for Excellence in Classroom Teaching, which goes to Nisha Trivedi in Health Services Policy and Practice. Quoting one of her doctoral students, Dr. Trivedi goes beyond just the lectures and discussion in the classroom. She takes time to learn about her students, not just their names, but also their interests and what they hope to get out of the class. She then acts upon this information and tailors the class based on the information. There is no one more deserving of the Excellence in Classroom Teaching in Public Health Award, and I can only hope to be as great a teacher as she is one day. Congratulations. Next is the Dean's Award for Excellence in Mentoring. The Provost earlier recognised James L. Rudolph in Medicine and Health Service and Policy and Practice, and we'd like to just note that again. So, the second Dean's Award for Excellence in Mentoring goes to Shira Dunsiger in Behavioural and Social Sciences, Biostatistics, and Psychiatry and Human Behaviour. Quoting one of her doctoral students, "I'm nominating Dr. Dunsiger because she exemplifies what mentorship should look like: steady encouragement, thoughtful feedback, and meaningful advocacy. In my experience as her student, Dr. Dunsiger brings a rare combination of intellectual brilliance and genuine kindness to every interaction. She sets high standards while consistently making me feel capable and supported in reaching them. What stands out most is how she mentors for long-term development. In my own case, she encouraged me to build quantitative skills even when I doubted my aptitude for biostatistics at a rigorous graduate level. She helped me reframe that narrative, broke complex concepts into achievable steps, and challenged me in a way that felt supportive rather than daunting. Congratulations." Finally, we have the Dean's Award for Excellence in Research Collaboration, which goes to Ying Ma in Biostatistics and Healthcare Communications and Technology. Dr. Ma's work seeks to understand disease progression and shapes response to therapies. She pinpoints spatial patterns at a molecular level, develops widely used data tools, and works across disciplines to help turn complex biological data into discoveries that improve health. Congratulations, Dr. Ma. Thank you, Francesca. That concludes the School of Public Health Awards. Sorry, MJ. I've lost my place. Next, we have the awards for the Swearer Centre for Public Service. MJ Callan, Vice President of Community Engagement, and Stark Family Executive Director of the Swearer Centre, has already joined me to present these awards. Thank you, MJ. This year's first Howard R. Swearer Engaged Faculty Award goes to Alexandria McMurdo. Dr. McMurdo has developed deep connections with local communities. Guided by the principle, nothing about us without us, her research and teaching on harm reduction and overdose prevention engage not only health practitioners but also people with lived experience as partners. A nomination letter written by two collaborators, Michelle McKenzie and Josh Soski, and endorsed by 15 others, lauds her consistent practice of showing up, listening and following through, and sharing power over time, and not only when a grant or course requires it. They describe numerous ways in which she builds trust, keeps momentum, and makes people feel respected and excited to be part of the work. Professor and Chair of Epidemiology, Katie Biello's nomination letter also cites research projects and publications grounded in deep partnerships, valuable contributions to internal and external efforts to address overdose and advance equitable approaches to prevention and response, and positive impact on students. Course feedback scores and reflections underscore Dr. McMurdo's exceptional ability to create rigorous, community-centred learning environments that do not simply inform students but meaningfully shape how they think, what they value, and the work they pursue next. Congratulations, Alex. The second award in this category is given to Eleni Sikielenos in Literary Arts. Professor Sikielenos has been nurturing and publishing the creative voices of people of all ages and experiences for decades. The first person in her immediate family to graduate from college, she believes in poetry as a liberatory tool for linguistic self-expression and autonomy. Prior to coming to Brown, she taught poetry in women's and men's prisons, was a poet in residence in public schools, libraries and homeless shelters, and founded and directed a Writers in the Schools program at the University of Denver. At Brown, she has taught writers in the community training and residencies and focused on collaborating with local K-12 schools. Michael Ritchie, a fifth grade teacher at Vartan Gregorian Elementary School who started working with Eleni virtually during the COVID-19 pandemic, said the following: "Students who normally struggled with writing flourished with poetry. The positive impact carried over into the regular classwork. Brown students benefited too. For nominator Sienna Capone, Eleni's example of conscientious, culturally informed instruction prepared her for the practicalities of responsible partnership. Brittany Braswell is pursuing an MFA to continue writing and teaching in communities inspired by Eleni and the fifth grade students. Congratulations, Eleni." Thank you, MJ. That concludes the Swearer Centre Awards. Dean Mukesh Jain will now help me present the awards from the Dean of Medicine and Biological Sciences. Hi, Mukesh. And again, the Provost earlier recognised James L. Rudolph in Medicine and Health Service Policy and Practice for the Dean's Award for Faculty Research Mentoring in the Division of Biology and Medicine, and we'll acknowledge that. The next award is the Dean's Award for Excellence in Undergraduate Teaching, Advising and Mentoring in Biological Sciences, which is given to Michael Paradiso in Ophthalmology and Visual Science and Neuroscience. Quoting one of his students, "Professor Paradiso is a very enthusiastic and kind teacher. and evidently cares about his students. He does a great job of creating an inclusive environment, engaging students, demonstrating how much he cares about student success in the class, and effectively communicating the course material. Congratulations, Michael. And finally, the Dean's Award for Excellence in Graduate and Postdoctoral Teaching and Mentoring in the Biological Sciences is awarded to George Lisi in Molecular Biology, Cell Biology and Biochemistry. Quoting one of his students, "As someone whose thesis project has hit many roadblocks and rough patches, George has remained steadfast in his support for my success and progress. I have never heard him vocalise disappointment in the progress of any lab member, both because he displays a deep understanding of the tumultuous nature of the PhD process and because as a leader, he instills a work ethic that comprises high expectations without high pressure." Congratulations, George. Thank you, Mukesh. That concludes the Medicine and Biological Sciences Awards. And that brings us to the conclusion of our evening. And thank you to the nominators who took time to make visible the important work of these Brown instructors. Can we give them a final round of applause for all of our inspiring